Hello, scholars. In this meeting, we're going to be working on word problems, how to read them and solve them, reviewing number bonds and fact families, and different ways to solve some simple addition. So to get started, we're going to read a problem about grapes. Let me pull it up for us so we can all see it. Here we go. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to read our problem, read our word problem. Is the first thing we always have to do is read the word problem. So let's read our problem that's right here. Seth ate 9 grapes. Then his dad gave him grapes, and he ate them. Seth ate 15 grapes in all. How many grapes did Seth's dad give him? So remember, some of the first things that we do when we're looking at a word problem is we either highlight or circle the numbers so that we know what we're working with. And then we underline our question, how many grapes in all? And now let's read these questions down here that are kind of helping us out work through this first problem. And so the first one is, what is the total number of grapes Seth ate? Write this number in the top box. So this box right here, I'm going to write the total number of grapes that Seth ate. My first number is 9, so should I put that? Nope, because that's the grapes that he ate before. His dad gave him more, but down here it says he ate 15 grapes in all. So right here, I'm going to put in the number 15. Now I'm going to move down to letter B. How many grapes did Seth eat first? Oh, that's where the 9 grapes comes from. And it wants us to put that number right here in this bottom part of our box. And then question C says, what does the question mark stand for? What information in this story do we not know? We know that he ate 15 grapes in all. We know that he ate 9 grapes, so we're trying to figure out how many grapes his dad gave him that he also ate. So that's the third part of our puzzle. Now, if you remember, we were making number bonds using these numbers, our whole part. So I could have 15 up here in a circle, and then break it down to our 9, and then our other number that would go right here. And this up here, I'll label this part up here as our whole, because that's the total amount. That is the whole number. This right here is a part. And this over here is also a part. Remember, we had our pieces of paper that we'd come up and stick on the board for the whole part. 15 is our biggest number too, so it has to be the whole number. And then 9 is one part, and we're trying to figure out the other part of it. So we can write an equation, and it helps us out down here. Look down at D to write an equation using the number bonds model. So it has blank plus our question mark equals blank. Now I know my 2 numbers that I have are 9 and then 15. Because remember, when we write our number sentences, for our fact families that go with our number bond, we can only use the 3 numbers that are present. So I could also, over here, I could have 9 plus our unknown amount equals 15. I could do our unknown amount plus 9 equals 15. I could do 15, our whole, minus one of our parts to equal our unknown amount. Or I could do 15 minus our unknown amount to equal 9. I'll make these a little bit bigger so that you can see them well. And those are the equations that go with our fact family. So looking at these, I can think to myself which equation looks the best for me to solve, and I am going to choose to do this one right here and do 15 minus 9. Or I could also use this equation that they gave us here and do 9 plus blank equals 15. And to solve both of those, I'm going to choose to think about counting up from one number to the next number on my fingers. So I'm going to start with 9 and count up to 15 and count on my fingers how many I have. So start with me. We have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's where I have to stop because that's my whole number, my big part. And now I'm going to figure out how many fingers I use to get there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, which means my answer has to be 6. And this 6 means that Seth's dad gave him 6 more grapes after he had already eaten 9 to make his total of 15 grapes eaten. Okay, we're now going to move on to another problem. And as we're doing this, if you want to write the problems down on a sheet of paper as we're going, you can also do that. So this problem, let's read it because that's the first thing we always have to do is we have to read our word problem. So read it with me. There are 15 players on a team. There are 17 girls. The rest of the players are boys. How many boys are on the team? So remember, before we get to anything, we want to circle or highlight our numbers and then underline our question. How many boys are on the team? So I have 15 players on the team, 7 girls, and I want to know how many boys there are. So to solve this one, we're going to get started by using a drawing and model it. So the total amount that we're going to have is for the total amount on the team, and we're going to have boys and girls that make up this team. Okay, so that's what we know so far. Now, do we know any numbers that can go with this? How many players are on the team total? 15. So I'm going to write that there to help me. And then 7. Are there 7 girls or 7 boys or 7 mixed? Let's see. There are 7 girls. So I'm going to have 7 right there. They did the same thing down here, writing it out. And then down here at the bottom, they drew it out. So they drew 15 circles for the 15 players in all. So let's count those just to make sure that they're correct because we always got to double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so they have our 15 players drawn. Now, how many of those are girls? Let's go back up to our problem. There are 7 girls, so 7. So they drew 7 down here, 7 G's for 7 girls, and I'm going to circle 7 of them. And then we need to figure out how many we have left so we can easily count those amount that we have left over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 8 boys. I could draw 8 B's over here if I wanted to. Now let's look at the questions and look at our number bond and our equations to help us out as well, because what we draw, we also need to show with an equation. So it says to use a model and equation to solve the problem. So we used our model. Now we're over here with our equations. What number is the total? What part do you know? And complete the model on the right. So our total amount is all of the people on the team, which is 15. And that goes up here because the total goes at the top. The whole is at the top. And then we have our part right here. We know one of our parts is 7 girls. So over here, I can put that in my equation too, because we're going to have part plus part equals whole. So I'm going to have 7 plus question mark equals 15. And then over here, I have 15 minus our part, which equals our question mark, the other part of the 15. So this equation shows us that 7 girls plus our unknown amount of boys equals the total on the team, or that the total, everyone on the team minus the 7 girls is going to equal that number of boys. And so we saw by counting over here that we had 8 boys on the team. We counted that over here. We could have also counted up from 7. So let's do that and count up on our fingers. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Wait, hold on. 7. Let's try that again. I lost count of my counting. And it happened, so we just have to start over. So we're going to start with our 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And I have 8 fingers up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that was my answer for the number of boys. Think about if you can use another strategy to also solve this problem. And we can add or subtract, because when we have 3 numbers, we can make 4 different equations, 2 addition and 2 subtraction, to add and subtract them. Now let's look at this problem down here on the bottom where it says try it. That's where we are now. So we're going to look right down here. It says Jen has 12 pencils. 7 are blue and the rest are white. How many white pencils does she have? Write an equation. So we're going to start. We read it. First thing we have to do now, we will highlight our amounts. We have 12 and we have 7. Those are our 2 numbers. And then our question is, how many white pencils does she have? So we know that she has 12 pencils in total. 7 of them are blue and the rest are white. So we know our whole, we know one part, and we're trying to figure out the other part. And it says to write an equation to solve this. So I'm going to write the subtraction equation and addition equation. So 12, our whole, minus, I'm going to write minus the part that we know, equals it. But then I could also have the part that we know plus the part that we don't know to equal the total amount that we know, which is 12. And there we go. And now we can figure out how to solve it. So I might decide to draw this one. So I'm going to draw 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, how many of those were blue? What's my part that I know? I know 7 are blue, so I'm going to count 7 of them and circle those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to circle those because I know that those are blue, which means these must be the white ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. So that means 5 is my answer, and I have 5 white pencils. All right, let's look at another problem. A small bag holds 3 fewer soccer balls than a big bag. The small bag holds 9 soccer balls. How many soccer balls does the big bag hold? Okay, so we've read it. Now let's highlight our numbers, 3 and 9, and let's underline our question. How many soccer balls does the big ball have? So I'm going to think about this one now and what I know and what I don't know. So let's look down here, and it says we know that a small bag has 9 balls. The small bag holds 9 soccer balls. Found that right there in our question. So we know the small bag equals 9 balls. We also know that the small bag plus 3 balls equals the big bag. And we know that because up here it says a small bag holds 3 fewer balls than the big bag, which if it holds 3 fewer, that means there are 3 less, and the big bag has 3 more than the small one. And then we need to find out how many balls are in the big bag. So we want to know that total amount. And right down here, they've drawn the pictures for us. Let's count how many they drew. And down here, so we have our 9 balls in the small bag. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then 3 fewer balls. So if we added those 3 more, we're going to have 9. And now let's do counting on. So that means I'm going to start at 9 and count up. That's 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're going to have 12 right there in total. So I'm going to write that right there. Now let's go to the other side and fill in and answer these questions now that we've figured it out. So the small bag holds blank fewer balls than the big bag. 3, that was in my question. So the big bag holds holds blank more balls than the small bag. Oh, it's 3 more. If the small bag has 3 fewer balls than the big bag, then the big bag has 3 more balls than the small bag. So how many balls does the small bag hold? We know that one from our question, and that is 9. And so now we can write an addition question to solve the problem. We had 9, and we added 3 to it to get 12. We could have also written a subtraction problem and done we didn't know it because we didn't know the total amount, minus what we did know was 3 to get 9. Or we could have done the unknown minus 9 to get 3. So let's stop right there. Okay, now I'm going to read this next problem and I want you to try to solve it. You can pause the video and try to solve it and then come back on for me to show you the answer. So I'm going to read it to you and then hit pause to go and solve it. Ted has 8 white balloons and some red balloons. There are 2 fewer white balloons than red balloons. How many red balloons does Ted have? So go ahead and solve it, or pause the video so you can try to solve it to come back and see if your answer is correct. So hit pause. All right. Now you've solved the problem, so you're hitting play again. We've highlighted our 2 numbers and underlined our question. So we're trying to figure out how many red balloons Ted has. We know that there are 8 white. We also know that there are 2 fewer whites than reds. So 2 fewer whites than reds. Then that means it's going to be our white plus 2 to equal the red balloons. Ooh, I don't know what I was trying to do there. To equal our red balloons. All right, so let's figure it out. We have white plus 2 equals red, and I know my amount that is white, so it's going to be 8 plus 2 equals blank, which is 10. That's one of our 10 facts, so we should know really easily. And we know that he has 10 red balloons. Okay, let's practice a few more problems together before you go and try to solve some on your own. So this one's already done for us, so let's read it and figure out how they solved it. Jen scored 6 more points than Sue. Jen scored 13 points. How many did Sue score? So they drew a picture to help them solve it. They drew Jen's points, which was 13, so they drew 13 dots. And then Sue's points, they drew the 13, but they crossed out 6 because Jen had scored 6 more than Sue. And figured out that Sue had scored 7 points. So now we're going to go down here to this bottom problem, number 13. Right here. And that's where we're going to get started. And we're going to read the problem, and then I want you to do the same thing of pausing it and solving it, and then coming back and watching how I solve it to make sure you got your answer correct. So let's read it together first. There are 14 dogs at the dog park. There are 6 black dogs. The rest are brown. How many brown dogs are at the dog park? So remember to think about what you know and what you are trying to find. Think about your whole and your parts, and pause this video to try to solve it and then come back. All right, if you're watching this now, then that means that you were trying to solve this problem and are ready to now see the answer. So I hope you got started by looking at the numbers that you had and your question. So our question is asking us how many brown dogs were at the dog park. And so we know that there were 14 dogs total, 6 black dogs, and we don't know how many brown dogs. So our three numbers, if we wanted to go back to our number bond, it would be 14, 6 for one of the parts, and then we don't know for the other part. So I'm going to solve it by drawing 14 total and then figuring out how many of those were black. So we're going to start with our 14 total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now, 6 of those are black, so I'm going to cross out 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So those are crossed out. And let's count how many I had left, which are going to be my brown dogs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to have 8 brown dogs. All right, now do the same thing over here. We're going to read the problem, and then I want you to go solve it on your own. Kim had 12 stickers. She gave some to her sister. Now Kim has 6 stickers left. How many stickers did Kim give her sister? So pause it, try to solve it, and then come back. All right, if you're watching this now, it means you've already tried to solve it. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that. Underline question, how many stickers did Kim give her sister? All right, so let's think about what we know and we don't know. We know that Kim has 12 stickers. She gave some away. She gave away, however, we don't know however many stickers. And we know that Kim has 6 stickers left. I want to solve this by drawing. I'm going to use some stars for my stickers. So I'm going to start with 12 stickers in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now let's see. How many did she give away to her sister? Let's go back and look. We don't know, but we know that she had 6 left. So let's go ahead and cross out the ones maybe that she had left, and the ones that were left will be how many she gave her sister. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now let's count how many are left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. So she gave away 6 and had 6 left. So our answer is going to be 6. If I wanted to write an equation for that, I could do 12 minus 6 equals our question mark, which was that. We could have also done 6 plus our question mark equals 12. All right, now we're going to do one last problem before it's time for you to do some independent practice. So let's read this problem together. Kyle has 7 fish. He has 4 fewer fish than Anna. How many fish does Anna have? Now this one's multiple choice, but we're not ready to pick an answer yet. We still need to solve the problem using our equations or our pictures just like we have been, and then circle our answer. So let's figure out, we know, so I'm going to do what we know first. So we know that Kyle has 7 fish. He has 4 fewer fish than Anna. So that means that it's going to be 7. It's going to be Kyle's fish plus 4 equals Anna's fish. And we know that Kyle has 7 fish, so it's going to be 7 plus 4 equals Anna's fish. 7 plus 4. You can solve this many different ways using dots, using our number line, using hundreds chart, using your fingers, and you're going to solve it, and you're going to get the answer of 11. Now right here, it says Deb chose A as her answer. This answer is wrong. How did Deb get her answer? Deb got 3, which she got by doing 7 minus 4 because she just used those two numbers and did a quick subtraction problem without understanding her sentence or her question and her information. So we have to make sure that we read all of it. Read the whole problem, make sure that we understand what it is asking us. All right, now it's time for you to do some independent practice. So these problems are going to be posted up on the Google Classroom for you to do. Remember, just answer them on a sheet of paper, and you can send me a picture via text. You can respond on the Google Classroom page. Any of those are options. Just show me your work. With all of these, I want to see some equations or some drawings or both for all of these problems so I know what you did and how you solved them. Let me know if you have any questions about what you're doing, any questions about how to solve the problems. I am more than happy to help you. Bye, guys.